What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome again to Afro SheepDog. It's another one. Today we have a special guest.
Hi guys, it's your girl Jocelyn here.
This is the lady of the house, the madame of the house. We just have her joining us today just to give her thoughts. I thought this was an interesting one. Quick little video from uh, Michael Knowles. Great debater, great individual in terms of a lot of what he puts out. Has a lot of controversial topics as well. So certainly, again, as we do with everything here, we're not subscribing, we're not denouncing, we're directly addressing and trying to find out where is that middle point where we can all meet. Uh, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know more topics that you have in mind. Let's get it.
Don't forget to share, y'all.
Yeah, what she said.
First, I want to start off by saying I disagree with everything you say. Black Lives Matter, stop Asian hate, and leave trans people alone. Here's my question. Why
What
do
did I
you
say about the
weaponize...
Asians? I don't think I said anything about Asians.
Listen to my question. Why do you
Okay.
weaponize religion to justify your subjective opinions?
All right, before we get into this,
Didn't really talk about the abortion, just.
it's not even the abortion part yet. It's when you're trying to get your point across. What is the tone that makes the most sense? Like, what is the tone that makes the most
First
sense?
of all, Black Lives Matter, and let me finish speaking and ask this question.
Oof. I don't know if y'all saw a video with Alan West. Yeah, Alan West it should be, where it's a similar thing. This time it wasn't even like a black girl. It was, I think she was like Hispanic or something, and it was with a trans thing. And irrespective of what her question was or anything like that, the tone that which the way it was like a grandkid disrespecting their granddad, and it negate everything that was said in the conversation. And I think what I'm trying to note out of this is that's a trend among people who are trying to counter a lot of these things, and it hurts the debate. It doesn't allow for it doesn't the same way as a new group of people in today's world, it's almost like switch off when religion is brought up. It's almost in the same way when that sort of attitude is used to like deliver the point, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree, honestly. And I do have a question. So, did you actually watch the whole video? Because where did we get the Black Lives Matter and
Now, I mean, so this was just the only part of this that came up as far as the video that he put up. He covers a lot of different things across a wide spectrum. So I'm not surprised that she says that. He does cover a lot of things, not just in this video, but also in a lot of just in broad term. So I'm not even surprised that she said that. But at the same time, let's see where this goes.
get to the T?
How do you think I've done that?
You say that God says, oh, there's men, there's a woman, and just leave that as that. Like, you don't represent religion because we don't live in a country where you can be purely pure based on your religion. Like, you sin, everyone sins, if we
Yeah.
can understand that. So trying to weaponize that against people and try to limit their rights because of what you think God said, God didn't speak to you. You don't
Well,
know,
God
you
does
don't
speak
know
to me,
God.
and He speaks to
No,
all of us, and we
no,
can read His
no,
Word in the Bible,
no,
and we can
no,
go to church.
no.
That is true. So what you're objecting to is that I've quoted the Bible, and I've said right there in the early chapters of Genesis, in the beginning God made man, both male and female created He them. And you're saying, Michael, why would you weaponize religion that way? But what have I done? All I've done is just quoted the Bible, and I'd be happy.
Okay, so before he goes through that,
That's how you write a statement. That's how you, how do I say it? That's how you support your evidence based on quotes. So, how is that using it as a weapon?
Okay.
It's supporting.
and
Statement.
just she switched off.
Yeah, because she's not getting her point across.
On this subject, and I'm happy to have a conversation about even pre-biblical or extra-biblical sources on it, on the hylomorphic nature of the human being. I'm happy to do that. That's not a weapon against any people. That's a weapon against falsehood. And so the only way in which I would turn religion into a weapon is against the devil. And that's what we all have to do, because religion is a habit of virtue that renders to God what He deserves. That's the meaning of the word religion. And so I'm just reading the text, and I'm practicing the faith faith, and I'm telling you what the faith has said for 2,000 years. And you might reject it, but I think that it's true. I think religion is true, and you might think that it's false, and you might have a different set of beliefs, but one of us is, at the very most, one of us is going to be right. And so at the very least, one of us is going to be wrong, and I just happen to be correct about this.
Absolutely does not care.
You know, I can respect the confidence, but it's just purely.
If anybody starts a conversation with I can respect, it's
There's
not
gonna
going.
be no respect.
There's gonna be no respect.
I mean, based on her demeanor, there was no respect.
There's been no respect already. Very true.
Delusion. Okay, I
don't think Christianity is delusional.
I respect religions. I respect people's rights, but trying to limit someone's rights by saying, "Well, I believe that God said this, so I'm going to block you from doing this," like abortion. People get raped. People get incest, and it's crazy traumatic situations. And it's very hard for a human to ask a human, "Oh, keep that baby because God said to." That is impossible.
I think most people who make the argument either for or against abortion, that those kind of events are made as exception. Like those are separate from the general thought of the use of abortion.
And does all religions say keep the aborted babies?
I don't think religion speaks to abortion specifically. It speaks to murder.
Yeah.
It speaks to killing alive.
Yeah, true.
Like that's where it speaks to. So like for what she's saying, I get the attempt.
Yeah.
But she's not approaching it appropriately. She's not thinking about the concept in the right sense. The religion doesn't limit you from.
And she already shut him down by when she said God doesn't speak to you.
Yeah, that was such a condescending.
God doesn't speak to you. God speaks to everybody every day, no matter how it is. It could be by signs. It could be by your dreams. It could be by spirits, by angel. And you have to remember the fact that your God doesn't only have to be that white man with the curly hair. Period, point blank. Also, I did not like the fact how she was talking about how God doesn't speak to you. First of all, God speaks to everybody. It doesn't matter how it's spoken to. It could be by your dreams. It could be your voices. It could be by signs. And second of all, when we think about religion, and especially Christianity in general, everybody always assumes that God is that curly man, that white guy with the curly hair. No, God is literally, to me, in my perspective, in my beliefs, it's a ball of energy. And that energy could be any God, anybody, and who it is. Period. Fudge. God speaks to me every day. Every single day. Period.
You good there, bud?
I'm good. Don't tell me God doesn't speak to you.
That was such a rude thing.
Clearly God don't speak to you. That's why you're angry.
That's such a rude thing.
Ask a human, "Oh, keep that baby because God said to." That is impossible.
Do you think it's hard to? Do you think it's hard to ask someone, "Hey, don't murder an innocent person," even if you want to, even if that would be convenient? Because that's what we're saying about
because our fundamental beliefs are different. I don't think it's murder. I think it's that thing in the baby, not the baby, but the uterus.
You just said
that
it.
Is not,
I think you just admitted that I'm right. That's called a Freudian slip, and I think you just proved the point.
Chill out. But the thing in the uterus is not a baby. That's what I was trying to say. It's just a clump of cells. It's a tumor.
Whoa,
okay.
It's a tumor.
And trying to be like, it's a baby. We just have fundamentally different belief systems, and I don't believe that. No, I don't think it's murder. It's not murder.
Right, but the baby unlike a tumor.
Why should I ascribe to your belief or subscribe to your belief immediately? Yet you have no allowance for mine.
But
You say we have two different belief systems.
And she purposely used the cancerous vocabulary to make it seem like
it's a
bad thing. First of all, I do understand.
That's crazy.
I thought, when babies it's just a blood clot, basically.
I mean, again, cluster of cells in the most initial sense, but even that cluster of cells quickly develops a DNA.
Yeah, it's not a tumor.
No, like that was crazy. You just called a baby, and it's shitty. She said baby first, so you know it's a baby, but yet it's almost
and
like
the reason it's called a tumor, and she used that cancerous vocabulary, is due to the fact that the person
removing something evil from the body.
It's evil. But if it was a baby, a baby that wasn't a victim of rape and all that shit, would it still be a cancerous
Hell no.
tumor?
And also it's very very annoying that it's continually used like these the rape the incident that's
Yeah.
continually used as a reason for it. Whereas what is the percentage of abortions that are actually attributed to that
Yeah.
versus just abuse of the abortion system being available? How much of this Planned Parenthood, for example, how much of that was them saving people who had gone through versions of abuse versus them just allowing whole generations of women to just
And I also feel like the Planned Parenthood was purposely made and it's purposely located in low class, middle, middle class income people. Because if someone can't afford to have a baby and your baby daddy ain't shit, what are you gonna do?
yeah.
Take your ass to Planned Parenthood, and it's gonna be free of cost because we get free benefits, free health care due to the fact that your income is low or middle class.
So immediately you're absolving that person of all responsibility of it, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Tumor, say, the baby in the womb, it has the DNA of an individual human being that's different from the DNA of the mother, and the baby in the womb has all the characteristics of human life, and the baby in the womb grows, at a very early stage, grows to take on the form of an individual human being, and the baby in the womb, left unmurdered, will grow into a full adult-sized human being, just like you are. So that would seem to be a difference between the baby in the womb and the cancerous tumor. So you're saying, well, I just don't believe that, but you obviously do believe that because you just admitted it because you called the baby a baby. You don't want to acknowledge that reality because it's inconvenient. And I'm not denying that there are inconveniences in the world and there's suffering and there are all sorts of difficult decisions that people have to make, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a right and a wrong answer, and it doesn't even mean that you don't know what it is because you've admitted that you know what it is.
She wanted the mic then.
Yo.
This is why I purposely don't speak and
Yo.
debate with people, because she just got slopped and stomped on and murdered.
Oh my god. And first of all, why would you come to a debate with no intention of listening to any retort?
Because it's called living a life as a Gen Z.
I mean, God of mercy. Because that's my for me, that's my original thing. If we're gonna have a discussion and as I'm talking, I can visibly see you check it out every time I open my mouth, I'm not even gonna bother with the discussion. Like clearly you're not here to have a discussion. You're here to either convince me or go home pissed off.
Mm-hmm. And you know which option she chose?
You saw it.
She went home pissed the fuck off.
Oh my word, that was actually baffling.
I honestly feel like abortion is really a hard topic to talk about, especially due to the fact that there are people here getting raped, and and they're forced to have a rape baby. That's how I call it. But then it just outweighs the possibility of people just abusing the fact that Planned Parenthood was here to purposely, decrease the black population, because majority of these abortions are coming from black people.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to, to go to go to any side, because I do understand, there are victims, but the abortion is just being abused, honestly.
And I think that's what both sides are really having difficulty finding common ground in
Yeah.
is where do we agree that the abuse starts from? Like
Exactly.
when it comes to abusing abortion rights.
Mm-hmm.
I also think the media plays a very big role in this because again, when you think about what happened with the abortion rights, right, moving it from federal to state, in a lot of ways, that should actually allow it to cater to the culture that's central
Yeah.
to your area.
Exactly.
Right, so if you live in a more conservative area, then you sort of understand what the principles there are going to be. If you live in a more liberal area, et cetera, et cetera. So that actually allows a lot more. I don't know, it allows a lot more freedom, and I understand the idea of Big Daddy being the one to decide
Mm-hmm.
whether or not everybody does the same thing. But that's not America. Is not It's not built that way. America is it's a confederation of states. Like at the end of the day, like it's a bunch of states that came together. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to watch it play out. But I think for me, my biggest takeaway from this, because her points were benign.
My biggest takeaway, sorry to interrupt, my biggest takeaway is to get a better debater.
Yeah, but that's my biggest thing. My biggest takeaway is if you're going to try and have this discussion in any way, shape, or form, don't come to the podium. Don't approach with insolence, right? Don't approach with disrespect. If people want to have a discussion with you, if they've given you the opportunity to hear your thoughts, then respect their time as well. Respect their opinions as well. Now, I don't know if you saw what recently happened with Riley Gaines. She's a U.S. Former NCAA swimmer.
Oh, the transgender.
Well, so Leah Thomas actually ran against her, or swam against her, and beat her. And so since then, she's really been touring the country, really trying to support women's rights versus trans rights. Now, at no point has she tried to diminish trans rights
Of course.
versus women's rights, but it's the recognition that women's rights are dissipating in front of trans rights.
And she also wants to support what gender that she believes she is.
Exactly.
If you're just saying, "Oh, I support transgender rights," that just devalues the fact of the process that you went to be who you are.
Exactly. Now, as she's doing this, she goes to a university. Crap, I don't remember the name of the university, but this happened last week. She was literally mobbed
Oh,
by transgender. I mean,
I did not know.
not in the oh there was a protest again. No, she was literally held against her will for 3 hours, where even the campus security couldn't get her out.
Oh wow, I did not know.
And there are reports that she was physically harmed. So again, my point in all of this is if you approach the conversation with that level of aggression and disrespect, they're gonna stop listening to you. It's very, very difficult for you to keep that going and keep people entertained. I mean, you go back to the Black Lives Matter thing, right? I'm sorry to say this for anybody who doesn't want to hear this. What happened in 2020, it greatly diminished the power of Black Lives Matter. Because effectively, what the world saw was the soldiers for Black Lives Matter wreaking
Took all your
havoc.
money and bought a house and a bunch of strippers. Just,
Oh yeah, the generals took money and bought a house, while the soldiers wreaked havoc on the state.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's going to want to listen after that.
Yeah. I do not trust Black Lives
They're
Matter.
not and so it makes it difficult for future conversations to be had. Right? We think about this trans thing today. The radical, I'm going to say, determination to get children involved in this in a sexual matter, no matter how you slice it. Choice of partner is a sexual matter. It means you felt the sensations enough to know that's my partner, right? So the minute you start to involve children in that's a form of aggression. Parents are not going to want to hear that. And so you make the conversation difficult for you and for future advocates. So ultimately, my takeaway is please, 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 as we have these debates, approach with decorum. And also, thank you for the time.
I personally feel like our generation definitely needs to work on debates and how to articulate their words and speak properly instead of sounding like an angry black child. Thank you so much for listening. It was a pleasure featuring Sheepdog. It was a pleasure being on here, even though there was a lot of controversy. But we all know that's your favorite topic.
Hey, if we don't have the conversation, it won't be had. All right?
And that's right.
Thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you'd like lady here coming back.
With the bang.
With the bang. Thank you, folks. Peace.
Bye, guys. Peace out.